Welcome to my second guide for M8S, this time covering the second phase of the encounter after the boss transition and cutscene. If you're looking for the first phase, I have a guide for that too. The link is in the description. This phase could be considered a victory lap, if victory involves pain, wipes, and a cool new arena shape. I'll be showcasing a mixture of gameplay and strat diagrams and talking you through the nuances that I learned during my blind progression that will help you execute consistently and easily. Please do bear in mind that these strats were created early week 1. Over time, more refined strategies often release as more information and eyes get to experience the encounter, but what we have here works, is consistent, and will get you to the finish line. Let's begin. Because there's no checkpoint separating Phase 1 and Phase 2, it's likely that you will not be using markers for this phase of the encounter. That's alright though, because you don't need them. I would recommend locking your minimap and having it visible if you don't already though, because it can at times be useful to know where specific platforms are for mechanical resolutions if you get disoriented for whatever reason. This fight takes place on 5 small circular platforms instead of a standard arena, and you'll need some standardized positions to make things as simple as possible. Create light parties of 1 tank, 1 healer and 2 DPS, and pairs of 1 support and 1 DPS. You can use the exact same ones as you had for Phase 1 for this, which is why we have an image of the same setup from the Phase 1 guide here. You'll also want a conga line within your light party. If you look here, this shows your lineup: tank, ranged, healer, and melee. As the phase begins, you'll be placed on the southmost of the 5 platforms. Immediately split into your light parties and take the teleporters on the northwest and east respectively to arrive on the west and east platforms. The boss will cast Quake 3. These are stack markers that target healers and should be soaked with 4 players. Despite the size of the arena, mitigations such as Sacred Soil can cover across to the other side, so ensure you dip in to catch it. Immediately afterwards, Ultraviolet Ray will begin to cast. 5 players will be marked with blue icons above their heads. At the end of the cast, they will take a hit that pulses across the entirety of their platform, applying a magic vol and dealing damage. If 2 or more blue markers are on the same platform, it will insta-kill them. At the same time, a gleaming fang will spawn at the back of each platform on one half and begin to charge a laser that will shoot in a line AoE at the end of the cast. To solve this mechanic, line up in your conga spots. Because Ultraviolet Ray markers target all of one role and one of another, that is, all supports and 1 DPS or all DPS and 1 support, each platform will either have 3 or 2 blues without fail. If you have 2 blues, the marked player in the conga line closest to north will teleport to the north platform on their side, and the other will stay. If you have 3 blues, the northmost in the conga line will teleport to the north platform on their side, the southmost in the line will teleport to the south platform, and the middle will stay. Make sure to dodge the beams at the back too. Twinbite will cast next, a tank buster on the top 2 aggro players with a range that spans the platform they're on. The rest of the groups should congregate on the south platform here, whilst the tanks stay on their west and east platforms and cool down the hit. Once they take the hit, they can join the party south too. Hero's Blow comes after this. Howling Blade will aim at a random player and channel a half-room cleave, rendering 2 entire platforms and 1 half platform unsafe from the attack. You can see the unsafe side via animation by looking at his glowing sword. You want to go away from it. If he's facing you, that's the platform that will have 1 half safe, so just dodge into the safe half. His Fisher-Price Sage Newless will also channel an animation. If the lasers are pointing outwards, dodge in, and if they're pointing inwards, dodge out. Because the group has congregated in the south, if done correctly, the boss will always face you here, so you have an easier time reading the mechanic. Once this goes off, immediately hop over to your west and east platforms and deal with a second Ultraviolet Ray in the exact same way as the first. Quake 3 will follow, so stack once more in your light parties and shuffle in to ensure mitigation propagates. Afterwards, collect on the south platform again. The boss will cast Mooncleaver and face a random platform which has players on. We've baited it to south again, so it will always be that one. At the end of the cast, he will destroy the platform, so dodge off of it again once the cast begins. Tanks will want to stay on their respective west and east platforms again, whilst the other 6 players shift up together and take up residence on the northwest platform. The next cast bar, Elemental Purge, is a tank buster cleave which attacks at a massive 200-degree angle, covering the platform of the targeted tank as well as the next one. One tank at random will also receive a red prey marker. At the end of the Elemental Purge cast, they will be rooted to the floor for 5 seconds, gain a wind debuff, and after those 5 seconds that debuff will pop for a massive AoE around them and damage. What you're supposed to do here is have the non-debuff tank take the cleave, provoking the boss during the cast if needed to ensure it goes on the correct target. Then the group will shuffle to the northwest or northeast platform away from the tank that's taking the cleave, so they want to go to the platform next to the red prey marker. Make sure the tanks stand at the south end of the platforms to give as much space as possible to the group. One player in the group will also receive a red prey marker, and they'll take a 6-man stack as the buster goes off. You can cheese this mechanic with Invuln and take both the cleave and the debuff if you wish, though you may want to consider holding it for the Enrage Sequence. Prowling Gale will cast next, and players will want to split into their pre-assigned pairs for this, taking 1 platform each. Melee and healer will take the north platforms, tanks and ranged will take east and west. 2-player towers will spawn in the centre of each, soak them. Rise of the Howling Wind will cast, and at the end, teleporters will be limited and turn red, and you can no longer teleport as often and must choose your times wisely. The debuff lasts for 7 seconds now. A tether will spawn targeting a random player, and Twofold Tempest will cast. At the end of the cast, Twofold Tempest will shoot a massive wind line AoE at the closest player, doing damage and applying a magic vuln, and that damage needs to be split by 2 players to be survivable. At the same time, the tether will drop an expanding aero field on its target, which must be avoided, applying a magic vuln as well. This means that you cannot sequentially deal with a cleave and an orb, though you must deal with each once, as this cycle will repeat 4 times. To handle this, the DPS will be tether couriers for this mechanic. When it first spawns, it needs to immediately be brought to the far west or far east platform, whichever's closest. If it's already there, perfect. If it isn't, the DPS on the platform it spawns on will grab it and bring it to the closest west or east platform, and wait by the teleporter for its residents to grab it. We think of this west or east platform as platform 1, and the residents will deal with their orb soak there, taking it together as a pair, by running to the back of the platform and waiting to the end of the Twofold Tempest cast. Then, once the puddle drops, the DPS will do their courier job. If the tether naturally spawned on their platform, they'll take it over to the next platform and trade it to them, then head back to theirs as soon as possible. If a DPS brought the tether to them, they will hand it back to the waiting DPS. This will cycle through each orb drop, taking them at the back of the room, then the DPS player bringing the tether to the next platform and going home afterwards. I mentioned the first orb drop being platform 1, right? So the orbs will be dropped at 1, 2, 3, and 4 sequentially. For the close baits from Twofold Tempest, the order will instead be 3, 4, 1, then 2. So if you look to see what edge the tether will start on, then the northwest or east platform furthest from them will go in first. Then once they're done, the furthest west or east platform will go in, then the platform that dropped the first orb, then finally the leftover northwest or northeast. This all does quite a lot of damage, so make sure to mitigate. Once all 4 sets are complete, the south platform will respawn and the group can make their way back to that platform safely. A little bit after this, Howling Blade will begin to cast Champion Circuit, and a whole bunch of AoE telegraphs will appear on each platform, lasers on both the left and right at the back of the platforms, and a rotation indicator around the boss will appear. These AoE telegraphs will rotate in sequence, much like in Copied Factory, the 24-man near raid, and you must dodge them whilst avoiding random left or right lasers behind you. There are a few ways you can do this. Firstly, you can just react. You can stare at the platform that's coming next, and as its telegraph goes off, you know exactly what the next attack will be, then check the laser behind you, and then dodge both. Secondly, you can memorize during the cast. There will always be a line AoE, aka one side is safe, a donut AoE, an in, an out, and an in. Always those 5. You can check them all during the cast bar or memorize. Teleporters will return to normal after this. After the 5th and final dodge, split again west and east into your light parties for another Quake 3, into Ultraviolet Ray, and another Twinbite tank buster, for which the party can congregate south once again whilst the tanks stay west and east. Teleporters will lock shortly once again, so after the Twinbites, set up for the next major mechanic by having the DPS go to the east platform, the tanks take the northwest platform, whilst healers stay south. Howling Blade will cast Rise of the Hunter's Blade, turning the teleporters red again, followed by Lone Wolf's Lament. This will spawn green or blue tethers connecting players. Green is stay close to your buddy, blue is stay far. Shortly after that, towers will spawn and must be taken whilst adhering to the rules of those tethers. But there are only 2 patterns here, making this actually fairly easy to resolve. There will always be a 3-player tower south where the healers are. There will always be a solo tower west and east. On northwest and northeast, there will be a 2-player tower and a solo tower, though which one goes where is random. Players will need to look to their partner and act accordingly. Let's go through what you do role by role. If you're a healer, do nothing. You will take the south tower. Job done. Enjoy. For DPS, 2 will have a blue tether and 2 will have a green tether. If you're tethered to a healer by a green tether, join them at south. 3 tower is done. If you're tethered to a tank with a blue tether, aka your tether is shooting through the boss, you stay east and take that solo tower. The other 2 DPS will go up to the northeast and wait there for a moment. As a tank, if you're a blue tether, you go to the west platform and take the solo tower there. From your in-game orientation of facing the boss, it's to your right. The green tether tank will join the 2 DPS on the northeast tower by teleporting to their left. So, the west, east and south towers are filled, and on the northeast platform there's a green tank and DPS tethered together, and a blue DPS tethered to a healer. Once the towers spawn, the pair takes the 2-person tower out of the 2 platforms, and the blue player takes the solo one out of the north 2 platforms. Done. Credit to Alice from DN for this strat, by the way. After the towers go off, a hero's blow cleave will follow. Dodge this, but bear in mind that you won't be with the group and therefore need to pay a little more attention. Once this is done, teleporters go blue and it's important to immediately collapse onto platforms together. The east platform DPS and the south healers and DPS will congregate on the south platform. The tanks and the 2 northside DPS will congregate on the northwest platform. Do this quickly. Ultraviolet Ray will follow once again, and you must resolve this mechanic exactly as before, but in your new temporary light parties. Line up in a conga with supports on the left and right side looking in, and the DPS in the middle. Exact same as before, except because of your new starting spots, when you have 2 blues on your platform, the closest one to east side will hop to northeast or east respectively. When you have 3 blues, the furthest one west hops to west 2, and the middle one plants. Once you finish this mechanic, congregate on the south platform one final time. Howling 8 will begin to cast, which is a stack multi-hit raid-wide centered on a tower which a player is on. If someone is slow and it targets them before they get to south, that's fine, just get over to that platform instead. After the multi-hit, the boss will cast Mooncleaver and destroy the platform. The group will teleport clockwise. This cycle will repeat until all platforms are destroyed. Assuming you saved your invulns for this point, you can mitigate the first platform, then use your tank invulns for platforms 2 and 3, then for platform 4, have both tanks share with full kitchen sinks and support from healers, and then phase 5 use heavy group mitigation. The reason cooldowns are on the 4th tower is so that they can freely use them to mitigate auto attacks earlier, but your mileage may vary, you can do what you want here really. Howling Blade gains a damage stack with each platform destroyed here, and Enrage will begin to cast after the 5th multi-hit raid-wide. If you made it this far, you're ready to beat the boss. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you luck with your clear. Have a fantastic rest of your day.